Story. Have you ever faced a moment in life when everything seemed to fall apart? When no matter how hard you tried, nothing worked? When you started doubting yourself, thinking maybe I'm just not meant to make it? But right there, that's when life looks at you and asks one question: are you really going to give up? This story is for those who have fallen 100 times, but still want to rise again. For those who believe the key to success lies in never giving up.
In a small village lived a boy named Rayan. He had one big dream: to become a pilot one day. He wanted to rise above the clouds and leave his name written in the sky. Every time he looked up, his eyes sparkled with hope. But reality wasn't kind. His father was a farmer, his mother a homemaker. They barely managed to keep the household running, and even paying for Rayan's school was a struggle. Yet, Rayan never gave up. He studied by candlelight, listening to static radio stories about planes and pilots. And every night, his mother would whisper, "My son, promise me one thing: never give up." Those words became his strength. But as always, life was about to test him. After finishing school, Rayan applied for the National Aviation Academy. He studied harder than ever. Days, nights, weekends, all he saw was his dream. And then the results came out. His name wasn't on the list. He froze. He could see his father's tired hands, his mother's hopeful eyes, and his own promise echoing in his head: "I'll become a pilot." That night, he turned off the candle, sat beside the window, and watched the darkness outside. Tears rolled down silently. He whispered, "Maybe dreams aren't meant for people like me." Then, a soft knock on the door. His father walked in, sat beside him, and said, "Son, you know what happens to a tree that falls in the first storm? It never grows tall. Maybe the storm is making your roots stronger." Those words lit a fire in Rayan's heart. He looked up and said to himself, "I'm not giving up." That day marked a new beginning. Rayan started helping his father in the fields during mornings, and studied every evening. He didn't have fancy books or online courses, just an old mobile phone and determination. His friends laughed. "Come on, man. You failed once already. Stop wasting time." But Rayan would just smile and write one line in his notebook every day: "Today, I will not give up." Still, life wasn't done testing him. He failed the exam again and again, 3 times in a row. Each failure hit harder than the last. Each time, it felt like his dream was fading away. One evening, when Rayan was sitting silently, his mother came and said, "Son, you know, a seed stays buried underground for a long time. People think it's dead, but one day, it breaks through the soil and grows toward the sun." Rayan looked up, his eyes moist but alive. Something in those words reignited his hope. Then came the 4th attempt. But this time, Rayan was a different person. He didn't just study harder, he trained his mind harder. He built discipline, focus, and consistency.
Every morning at 5 a.m., he'd wake up, meditate, and whisper to himself, "I can do this." Whenever he felt low, he'd look at his old rejection letters and say, "These are not failures, these are lessons." The morning of the exam, his father placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Whatever happens, son, remember, you've already won, because you never gave up." A week later, the results were out. Rayan opened the page, and there it was, his name on the list. He couldn't believe it. Tears of joy filled his eyes. He called his parents. "Mom, Dad, I made it." That day, the small house lit up with laughter and pride. But the biggest light was inside Rayan's heart. He realized something profound. Failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of growth. Years passed. Rayan became one of the top pilots in the country. Every time his plane cut through the clouds, he would look out the window and see flashes of his past. His father's rough hands, his mother's tears, and that notebook line, "Today, I will not give up." He finally understood. Life will never be a straight road. There will always be storms. But those who endure, those who stand firm, are the ones who eventually soar the highest. It doesn't matter who you are, a student, an entrepreneur, a dreamer, or someone lost in life. You will face moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. But remember, the moment you give up is the moment your story ends. And if you hold on, if you keep fighting for one more day, you might just turn the page to a new beginning. A failure doesn't mean you're done. A delay doesn't mean you've lost. Every delay might just be preparing you for your time to shine. Maybe your friends are moving faster than you. Maybe the world isn't noticing your efforts. But remember, every flower blooms in its own season. And when it blooms, the world can't ignore it. The final message: maybe right now you're in pain. Maybe your dream feels far away. Maybe you're standing at the edge, ready to give up. Stop, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, I'm still not giving up.
You have no idea how powerful that sentence is. Because success doesn't come overnight. Every time you fall, you're learning how to rise stronger. Every every setback is shaping you into someone unbreakable. One day, you'll look back and realize every struggle, every wait, every sleepless night was necessary to make you who you are. And that day, you'll smile and whisper, if I had given up back then, I would have never seen this moment. So, my friend, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many storms hit your life, never give up. You might be failing today, but tomorrow, people will clap for you. If you stop now, no one will ever know your story. But if you keep going, your story will inspire millions. Because the world is not changed by those who quit. It's changed by those who refuse to. And remember, the strongest hearts are born in the darkest nights. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and tell us in the comments what moment in your life made you decide to never give up. And don't forget to subscribe, because more stories like this are on the way. Stories that will light up your darkest days and remind you who you truly are. Final words: never give up. Because maybe today's darkness is preparing you for tomorrow's sunrise.